Let's take a look at this next question regarding the human blood type. There are two separate genes regarding human blood. One is the Rh factor, which determines if a person is positive or negative. So there's only two conditions for that. The positive allele, big R, is dominant over the negative allele, little r. The second gene is for blood type, which has three alleles in the entire human population, A, B, and O. Alleles A and B are codominant when together. The O allele is recessive to both A and B. So let's take a look at this scenario. Three couples came to the hospital on the same day because the women each gave birth to a baby girl. One of the nurses from the nursery claimed that there was a mix-up with the babies. As a hospital administrator, you need to sort out this mess and make sure each couple gets their own baby and not someone else's by mistake. You order blood typing for all of the parents and babies. Here are the results. So you can see what the women and the men of the relationship are in terms of blood group and Rh factor, that plus or minus. For each couple, what are all of the possible genotypes, blood type, and Rh factor for the woman and the man? Ms. Johnson has been done for you as an example, okay? I'm actually going to create a little bit more spacing here because it'll make it easier for us to see what is going on. Okay, so when we see Miss Johnston, excuse me, we know that Miss Johnston is, is A for the blood group and is positive. So from this information, we know that there are two potential genotypes that are going to create that A blood group and that could potentially create that positive Rh genotype because A is dominant over O and big R is dominant over little r. All right, let's look at Mr. Johnston, which is right here. So he is B plus. So we know that he can either be big B, or BO. And because he is positive for the R, he can be either big R, or big R, little r, okay? Miss Johnson is B negative. So she can be BB or BO, but we know that she has to be little r. That's the only way that you can get that negative condition. Mr. Johnson is O positive. So we know that the only genotype that creates the O blood group is OO. And because he is positive, he can either be a homozygous or a heterozygote for that condition. Mrs. Johnstone is A positive, so again, can be AA or AO, and can be big R, or big R, little r. And Mr. Johnstone is A negative, so it can either be big A, or big AO, and because he's negative, he has to be little r, okay? Now we also have the information about the blood for the baby. So baby A is O positive, baby B is AB negative, and baby C is B negative. Let's take a look at these other questions here. What are baby B's blood and Rh genotype? So baby B is right here, and the genotype for the blood is going to have to be AB because she's AB. In terms of the Rh, the negative, so it has to be a homozygous recessive. Now, what are the parents that can be the couple that created this child through fertilization? Well, we have to look at what are the parents that could combine both an A and a B allele. And the reason why they have to belong to Mr. and Mrs. Johnston is because they are the only couple that have both A and B alleles. And this is, of course, assuming that nobody cheated on anybody else, okay? But the other couples could not create those combinations of A and B. Let's see what else, what other question we got here. So to which couple, Johnsons or Johnstones, does baby C belong to? Why? What are baby C's blood and RH genotypes? So let's start with this last part of the question. The baby C is B. And so, well, actually, let's start at the beginning. To which couple, Johnsons or Johnstones, does baby C belong to? So what are the only other set of parents with B alleles, if we know already that baby B belongs to the Johnston? That is that it must be the Johnsons, okay? They're the only other ones who have B alleles that could have created this B combination. And because Mr. Johnson is O, blood type O, genotype OO, we know that baby C has to be BO, okay? And baby C is negative for the RH, so we have little r, okay? Now let's look at this final question here. To which couple, Johnsons or Johnstones, does baby A belong to? What are baby A's blood and RH genotypes? So we know baby A is O positive, which means that we know the genotype of the Johnstones, okay? And so here we have that they're going to belong to the Johnstones. Oh, forgive my spelling here. Let's write that again. The Johnstones. And we're going to have a baby whose blood group is OO and big R, little r. And they were the only choice remaining, and so that's why we can figure out what all of these different babies belong to.